behind creation of Sui, and what prevailing problem was Sui trying to solve?
So our founders, now at Miston Labs, were working on the Libra or DM project at Facebook, right? Once that project came under regulatory scrutiny, that it was dissolved and Miston Labs Sui was born. So one of the one of the biggest points of Sui, why Sui was created, was that we saw that the founders at least saw that there was a lot of problems in the blockchain space today. Ethereum, for example, is very expensive. It's very expensive to transact on Ethereum. It's relatively slow, or pretty slow, depending on what metric you want to use. So it's slow, inefficient, bound to hacks. We've seen over 9 figures USD getting hacked over the past few years. And if we really do want to create like the future of finance, then the infrastructure to do so needs to be equally as robust as well. So that's where Sui comes in, and Sui hopes to be this new generation, next level performative blockchain that can really satisfy whatever use case, whatever blockchain use case, I should say, of anyone, anywhere in the world.
So Sui is an object-oriented blockchain. So I want to know what does that mean, and what advantages does it bring to the users compared to the conventional blockchains like Ethereum? You just mentioned some, but we would like to know more about it.
So one of the biggest things that we like to tout or like advertise about Sui is its object or like asset centricity. So existing blockchains such as Ethereum use an account-based model, and in my opinion at least, it's very unintuitive how it works. Sui, however, takes so anything important on Sui is an object. So this could be a token, NFT, any other in-game asset. They're all represented as objects. And I think this is very just simply intuitive, because that's how we humans intuit what money, items, whatever money, items, or anything. So I think that this paradigm makes it very easy and intuitive to onboard next however many millions of developers, hopefully millions of users, billions of users one day. And this is reflected in the novel programming language that Sui utilizes, Sui Move, that reflects that every unique instance of data on the blockchain is also represented as an object, which can be analogous to an asset.
So who is Sui Network for? Is there any like specific target user group that Sui is focusing on?
Well, I mean, I would say that, like, you know, beginning of like every meeting that we have, right, we say, what are we doing this for? We want to be able to make Sui relevant to everyone in the world.
Right.
So if we want to do that, it's a pretty lofty goal, but nevertheless, if we do want to do that, it's important that we cover all our bases, right? So we're not saying that, oh, Sui is the gaming blockchain, Sui is the DeFi blockchain. No, Sui, we want Sui to be like a public good for anyone to use, right? So the way I like to see it is that Sui, or like blockchains in general, and I think Sui in particular, should be modeled as this public good that anyone can utilize, right? So if you're a developer looking to build a game, if you're like a business that wants to use Sui for a novel use case, we think that Sui, the Sui network, the Sui blockchain should be open for any and all use cases. So yeah, to answer your question, there is no one target demographic we're targeting, but rather we want to make it such that anybody will be able to use Sui and not necessarily have to worry about how it works. So the same way we warm our food every day in the microwave, or like use a car without being electrical or mechanical engineers, I think it's also important that Sui should be relevant for people without people having to be like have a PhD in computer science, right? So the same way we can use a microwave, like a 5-year-old could use a microwave, ideally, that would be how blockchain works for the masses.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm wondering, what are some areas Sui is focusing on right now? Is there any like new updates that are coming up soon?
So I guess it's like, before that, it's important to go over that there's like a million different L1s out there, right? And we think that should Sui see like success in like the next few years, there needs to be a moat. There needs to be something differentiating us. So currently, like we were talking about this earlier, but one of the biggest things that Sui brings to the table is like its whole object centricity or asset centricity. That's one of the things that I believe makes programming assets and using assets just more intuitive.
Right.
But there's a lot that Sui does underneath the hood as well, such as computation parallelization. So if there are several different transactions that are occurring touching the different space in the blockchain. So let's say there's some touching like DeFi, like a DEX. There's some interacting with an NFT, and there's some just simply transferring tokens. Those are unrelated to each other. And Sui recognizes this, and you're able to actually execute those transactions in parallel. So this is what's available on Sui today.
Wow.
This is also relatively novel in regards to blockchain technology because legacy blockchains, such as Ethereum, for example, every single transaction needs to wait in the same line for the same block to actually go from when that transaction is first submitted to that block's finality, right? So Sui says, hey, if there's different types of transactions occurring on a blockchain, why should they have to wait in the same line when they have nothing to do with each other? So this is like pre-answering your question, what is Sui working on? This is what Sui has out of the box right now. Some stuff that Sui is working on, one of the things that Sui is working on that I'm really excited for is what's called ZK login.
ZK login?
ZK login, yes. So ZK login hopes to onboard the masses with simple like one-click wallet creation.
Yeah.
So the same way like today you can sign up for a new website with like your Google, Apple ID, Facebook, or whatever, you'd be able to do the same thing with creating a Sui public-private key. So a lot of the geniuses over at Mistin Labs have been working on this cryptography to enable a one-to-one account, like Web2 account, Google, Facebook, whatever, to generate a new public-private key Sui address.
Wow.
So that's one of the things.
Very excited.
Yeah, I would say another thing that I'm also very excited for is the fact that Sui, again, out of the box, supports many different ways to sign transactions, supports many different elliptic curves out of the box. And one of them is the same, uses the same enclave that is found in iPhones and Androids today. So you would be able to essentially sign transactions with a public-private key, a Sui public-private key generated from the actual hardware in your smartphone.
Right.
And I think that's like something that's like totally, it doesn't exist with like any other blockchain today. And I think that in and of itself is like a new like project or DApp, right? So I think once like the word is out there, once more people are aware that this technology exists, it'll be very interesting to see how Sui and I guess blockchain technology in general can become more relevant to like the average user, the average Joe, right?
I would like to know what are some dynamic NFTs on Sui and how are the ecosystem projects utilizing them?
So yeah, one of the biggest technologies that Sui also has out of the box right now are dynamic fields, which can be used to power dynamic NFTs. So if the way Sui works is that, at least the way that dynamic NFTs on Sui work, are that, let's say you have like a particular in-game asset with a set number of fields. Let's say like you're creating a sword, and the sword has like one field that has like sharpness, level, etc., right? On any traditional blockchain, once you have programmed that field in, it's there, it's static, you can't change it. The biggest thing with dynamic fields is that you can actually add fields, like literally in the name, you can add fields to assets dynamically on the run, on the fly. So if you're programming a game and you decide, oh hey, I want to add like this one like sticker to it. Let's say I have a store, bad example, probably don't add stickers to store, let's say a jewel, so enchant it, right? You would be able to dynamically add such a field to that actual sword object.
Right.
So what does that mean? It essentially creates hierarchical parent-child objects within assets in Sui. And one of the biggest things that this does is that it actually enables more Web 2 like use cases. So in the Web 2 world, where you're able to like equip armor, dequip armor, add customizations to objects. In the Web 2 world, it's very easy, right? Because you can program whatever you want without having to worry about, oh, am I like spending too much gas? Is this transaction going to take too long? Is it going to like congest the network? You don't have to worry about stuff like that. And I think one of the biggest things that Sui brings to the table is this Web 2 like feel of being able to compose assets with each other, being able to create like these hierarchical parent-child objects with each other, all in an effort to really, like I said, like go back to the beginning, make Sui a more like fluid blockchain, make it more relevant to people without
Right.
having to worry about, oh, am I using a blockchain, right? Because I think at the end of the day, the technology shouldn't actually matter. It should be about like the user experience.
Right.
So can Sui have like provide user with a seamless user experience? I think that's like the best question that we need to ask ourselves. And that's like the end goal that we're going towards. So in long story short, but like the biggest thing with dynamic NFTs is being able to provide like more novel use cases that blockchain technology simply could not have fulfilled up until now because the technology was limited.
Awesome. Thank you so much.